Rising cost of living, skyrocketing rents, abysmal road infrastructure, and a mass transport system struggling to keep up. The citizens of Bengaluru cannot seem to catch a break. These anxieties were voiced once again recently when the BMRCL announced an annual revision of 5% in Namma Metro fares from February 9th, exactly a year after the steep 71% hike in 2025. Aside from the disgruntlement and concern among passengers, the issue soon snowballed into a political confrontation, with ruling Congress holding the centre responsible for the increase and the opposition BJP-JDS pinning the blame on the state. Following commuter backlash and political pressure, the decision has been put on hold for now, but questions remain. How does the Fare Fixation Committee decide these revisions? How have other metros been able to manage operational and maintenance costs? Are there policy alternatives that will not burden commuters? Namaskara, welcome to Decode Karnataka. I'm Nalme Nachiyar. Bengaluru's Namma Metro is the center of a fresh controversy regarding the recent fare hike. To talk about this hike, the political reactions that it elicited and commuter protests, we have with us today principal correspondent Darshan Devaiah, who covers mobility for The Hindu. The previous hike in February 2025, took the maximum fare from 60 rupees and 90 across the Namma Metro network, making this metro network the most expensive one in India. And this revision was based on the Fare Fixation Committee's recommendations, right? So, to begin with, can you explain what a Fare Fixation Committee is, how it works, and what role does it play in deciding the fares for a metro network?
Nalme, the Fare Fixation Committee is being constituted by both central and state government. How it is constituted? It is a statutory body. Okay, this statutory body is constituted under the Metro Railways Act. It is not appointed by the state government. It is set up under the central law and usually headed by a former High Court judge.
Okay.
And there will be members appointed by both central government as well as the state government.
Okay.
So what they will do once the FFC is formed, they will go and study various fare structures of international metro network as well as the domestic metro rail network. In our Bangalore FFC, what they have done is they went and studied Bangkok and Singapore metro.
Okay.
And also in India, they have studied Delhi metro and other metro to fix a fare.
Okay.
This FFC will give certain recommendation in its report to the BMRCL, where the BMRCL will be binding to that recommendation and they will implement the fare structure which has been formulated by the FFC committee.
Okay.
Not just fare, the FFC will also work on various non-fare revenue model, what the BMRCL can do, how they can get revenue out of other ways.
Okay.
And they will also discuss about the how viable the metro can be. So now what the controversy we are seeing is all about not about the FFC committee. Like
But this was the first FFC committee,
this is the first
Fare Fixation Committee for Bangalore.
Yes, this is the first Fare Fixation Committee for Bangalore after 11 years of metro operational, 11-12 years of metro operational. This is the first time the FFC was constituted.
Okay.
So now the controversy surrounding of the fare hike and FFC is all about like the way the timing, the quantum and the fare structure been recommended by the FFC and the way how the BMRCL implemented and also the political accountability.
Yeah.
That is the question today we are all raising about this overall fare hike issue.
Okay. Okay. Now, while we are on the fare, what are some of the factors that an FFC will, consider when they're deciding on fare revision? Say when they want to jump from a certain number to a certain number, what are the kind of parameters that are considered?
See, Nalme, when FFC was constituted and what are the parameters they have considered is the multiple financial and operational parameters. That is what they will consider in their FFC report. And that includes like cost of the project and debt and interest burden, operational and maintenance expenses, inflation and projected ridership. Based on all these parameters, they have fixed certain fare structure for Bangalore Metro Rail Corporation Limited. And they have also looked into the revenue stream. I already mentioned about it, how they can generate non-fare revenue.
Right.
Non-fare revenue can be generated by giving your metro rail or metro station for advertising.
Right.
They are already doing, wrapping the metro with advertisement.
The coaches,
and, Yes. And the other kind of BMRCL owns land that they can lease it out.
Yeah.
And they also have platforms, concourse where they can rent their space for the shops or some other utility purpose.
And all of these were part of the recommendations given by the FFC.
It is part of the recommendation.
And this is given to like in almost all like FFCs have it, or depending on the need of, or like whatever the financial needs of the.
It is upon the financial need.
Okay.
See, any public transport. In case if you see BMTC, they own a lot of properties. They have BMTC bus stations.
Yes.
KSRTC also has bus station. There also they have given space for rent, like shops.
Right.
And again, BMTC bus is been wrapped with advertisement. This is all non-fare revenue.
Okay.
So for any public transport, non-fare revenue is one of the source of income. But here the question is, the way how the fare has been increased for a middle common man or middle class person, it is a huge difference, like from 60 to 90, all of a sudden again annual increase of 5%. Was it necessary?
Okay.
That was the thing. And since they have already recommended various non-fare revenue model, again putting the burden on the common people who are metro commuters, that is not fair. That is what everyone raising the issue.
Okay. That brings me to this sort of political row that erupted over this, right? So BJP leaders, most prominently MP Tejasvi Surya, Bangalore South MP, they rose up in protest against the hikes. But the opposition, it said it blamed the broken finances, quote unquote, and misgovernance by the ruling Congress for the costs, while the state government countered it by saying it's that the center is responsible for it and not the state, right? It is the one that appoints the FFC and decides the fares under the central law, the Metro Act that you said. But so from blaming each other to taking credit for halting the increase, we've sort of come like a full circle. But I want you to put this sort of political discourse, into perspective. Who holds the power, really, and how do we make sense of this political discourse that we are seeing, this narrative that is playing out?
Nalme, this is where the confusion lies. So basically, both center and state government are responsible of BMRCL because it is a joint venture and has they both are equal stakeholders. And the financial decision, borrowing patterns like loan borrowing patterns and operation models, everything is decided by the both central and state government. So whatever the fare hike has happened here, and both the parties like BJP, opposition BJP as well as the Congress is blaming each other.
Yeah.
But if you see, both are responsible for this. February 9, 2025, the FFC committee report was implemented by hiking somewhere around 70% of hike was implemented.
Yeah.
So after that, I think Tejasvi Surya has raised this issue initially, and even he went to the court regarding the questioning the transparency of the BMRCL.
Yeah, because the report wasn't
the FFC
public.
report was not at all published, and then court intervened. Before that, before court say something, BMRCL published the FFC report. After that, no one spoke about this fare hike issue. See, everyone to the fact knew that the fare hike will happen. That is annual fare hike. That is 5% hike will happen because FFC has recommended it. 5% of annual fare hike should happen every year. But we had 1 year of time. No political party, both Congress and BJP, raised this issue. We have 4 MPs. I don't think the 4 MPs have raised this issue in the parliament. Maybe once or twice they might have raised, if I'm not wrong, but not
the kind where you take to the streets and protest and all that.
Not that
and
level
rally
of
public support for
correct.
this. Yeah.
And even we have multiple MLAs, right?
Yeah,
Even they
28
also
MLAs,
didn't, they also didn't raise this issue in the legislative assembly or council. What they were doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now all of a sudden, when the day the BMRCL implements this 5% hike, all of a sudden this political blame game, slugfest, everything started. So again, we have to question the political accountability from both the side, both the parties in this.
Right. Among the demands that the opposition raised when this, whole hullabaloo was happening was reconstituting the Fare Fixation Committee. While the Bangalore Development Minister, D.K. Shivkumar, has not responded to this, he did say that now that the fare revision has been put on hold, they will recalculate the fares using the Delhi Metro model, the formula. What is this formula? Like, what does this constitute? What are the considerations that go into, this formula?
See, BMRCL, after this political pressure, Tejasvi Surya and all other BJP leaders called Union Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, where this BMRCL and all metro comes under Union Minister of Urban and Housing Minister. So they intervened, and BJP leaders claimed that the central ministry has sent a letter to BMRCL.
Right, yeah.
Depending based on that, the BMRCL has temporarily altered
Yeah.
the fare hike. After that, Bangalore Development Minister D.K. Shivkumar did a press conference and said we have kept this fare hike on hold, not because of the center's involvement.
Again, part of that whole.
It is because we have decided, since there is a public outrage and all, we have decided to look into this and whether we can reconstitute a new FFC or what we can see. And also he mentions that we will follow the Delhi Metro's formula. But in 2016, Delhi Metro also constituted its FFC. That was the fourth Fare Fixation Committee, which they constituted for Delhi Metro. And in that, they also, FFC has given recommendation of hiking some fare. But that was not implemented. The Delhi Metro Board did not implement it for various reasons, because one of the correct reason would be because the recommendation is very much high, and commuters will suffer because of because all this metro, bus, any public transport should always be subsidized, right? So that was the motive, might be. So he might be talking about that particular thing, or even the Delhi Metro has an approach historically tried to balance affordability with sustainability. D.K. Shivkumar might be talking about that also. He was not particularly, never said what he is talking about. He said just Delhi formula we will try to implement.
A lot of the people say that if you increase, like you also mentioned about the Delhi example, that if you increase fares, people may not want to travel in the metro. Do you think, as an extension of that, should fare policy consider ridership impact more strongly, and what are the alternatives that are in front of us to not pass on the burden so much to commuters?
For sure, there will be some kind of an impact. Lower middle class people, Nalme, they will think about it, right? They will think like spending 90 rupees one way, let me take my two-wheeler and go. But the ridership may not have been impacted by the fare.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that the government should not take this issue seriously.
Right.
They have
Correct.
to reduce the fare, because end of the day, the public transport should be very, very subsidized. That is when you can solve the traffic issue in Bangalore, since we are the world's second most congested city, right?
Yeah.
So when we are talking about congestion, when we are talking about solving the traffic issue, our leaders are talking about building tunnel roads and all those things. But please give some more funds to public transport, especially metro, BMTC buses, that would really solve the congestion issue. Affordability of public transport really matters a lot. Because the public transport is not about revenue. To generate revenue, you can't depend on the commuters.
Right.
It's better BMRCL or BMTC to depend on non-fare revenues. See, alternatives could be like you can commercialize your properties that already even FFC has also recommended it. And advertising, transit store in developments, and targeted subsidies rather than across the board fare hike. That is what the experts and people feel.
It remains to be seen now that they're going to recalculate this thing, whether they will reconstitute and come up with a fresh fare fixation committee, or will they like modify and ask the same committee to do something again. We'll have to wait and watch, and we will keep following that news, and we'll keep bringing to you stories and videos regarding the same. Thank you so much, Darshan, for joining us today. And I'll see you in the next episode of Decode Karnataka. Until then, follow The Hindu for more such stories and videos.